Hello, YouTube, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have an episode here about North Korea and a couple articles in it about Gorsuch in the Supreme Court seat today. So we'll get started into it. The first article that I have is off of Conservative Tribune, and it says North Korea fires off ballistic missile. Tillerson issues stunning response. And as soon as the hamster catches up to me, I seem to be able to go much faster than the hamster. I don't think he's got a lot of excuses. He has 3 legs. I have 2. So, okay, here we go. North Korea launched another intermediate range ballistic missile. The United States has spoken enough about North Korea. The statement read, "We have no further comment." There is a letter in this with the letterhead of the U.S. Department of State, Office of the Spokesperson for Immediate Release, statement by Secretary Tillerson, April the 4th, 2017. North Korea missile launch. North Korea launched yet another immediate range. The United States has spoken enough about North Korea. We have comment. Ouch. Get it to scroll up a little bit more here. Media, surprisingly, didn't seem to get it. CNN even ran a piece called Rex Tillerson's incredibly odd and confusing statement on North Korea, in which the Clinton News Network asked what it meant. The statement reads, to channel Winston Churchill like a riddle wrapped in a mystery inside an enigma. It's Ernest Hemingway, but for complicated and delicate matters of foreign policy, a hyphenated word, a head scratcher, CNS Chris Cizilla wrote. I suppose I shouldn't expect much from the same people who don't believe that Susan Rice's unmasking scandal is a big story, but I think that President Donald Trump's administration has been particularly clear on its North Korea policy from the outset. CNN itself reported just a few weeks ago that Tillerson had said the policy of strategic patience has ended. North Korea, and that military action was possible against dictator Kim Jong-un if they elevate the threat of their weapons program to a level that we believe that requires action. Again, Trump himself said in an interview that if China is not going to solve North Korea, we will, according to Rutgers. The administration has made it clear it's going to take a much more active role in North Korea, and that role is likely going to involve less talking and more doing. Kim and North Korea totalitarian regime. Next article is off of Liberty Writers. His top general just gave Trump something that will scare North Korea. Anyone who has been watching the news recently is sure to have heard all about North Korea and their nukes. We also know President Donald Trump is not happy about it, and he and Mattis are ready to strike back. One of Trump's top Army generals, 4-star General Jack Keane, Trump exactly what he needs. The go-ahead to attack North Korea's nuclear facilities. That's right. A full-out preemptive strike is quickly becoming our only option. At times, a preemptive strike against launch facilities, underground nuclear sites, artillery, and forces, and regime leadership targets may be the only option left on the table. Now, the 4-star general isn't necessarily happy about this. He understands how significant that attack would be, and that it would most likely lead to a years-long ground war with North Korea. He was hoping China would help out, but after years of diplomacy, they have made it very clear that they will not support us. Leveraged China in the past have failed miserably. Sanctions have not worked against North Korea, and I doubt more sanctions will. And I don't believe sanctions against China will work any better. Still, President Trump will be having a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping this weekend and ask him one final time to help out with North Korea. Next article that I have, Daily Sheeple. Preemptively bombing North Korea may be the only option America has left. First off, stupid thing to say. In a recent Fox News interview, retired four-star General Jack Keane said that bombing North Korea nuclear facilities, quote, may be the only option left. That's right, bombing North Korea preemptively. Like America isn't already preemptively bombing enough countries as it is. Keane went on to say, we're rapidly and dangerously heading toward the reality that the military option is the only one left when it comes to getting North Korea to denuclearize and not weaponize intercontinental ballistic missiles. The Trump administration cannot accept a nuclear launch, he said. We cannot rely on our missile defense system to defeat it and expose the American people to a nuclear attack. And also, another world leader who says he intends to use nukes against the U.S., we have to take this very seriously. Do we? Really? With this technology, we will bring the United States to its knees, is a caption on a picture of Kim Jong-un. Computer disk. All of the countries that are supposed threats right now, the one that's run by a giant man-child who throws temper tantrums like the kid who can't have another piece of cake, is the one we have to take very seriously. Have they even established the guy really does have a nuclear weapon? Keane, just by the way, was Trump's first choice for Secretary of Defense. Is our president surrounded by anyone who doesn't want World War III? Meanwhile, in the interview with Financial Times, Trump said, if China is not going to solve North Korea, we will. Great. And finally, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson had this to say, or not. Secretary Tillerson says the United States has spoken enough about North Korea. We have no further comment. I mean, I think that it's all just a ploy, whether it is Syria or whether it is, I think that they want war because they have to ditch this failing economy that we've got going, and they need something to blame it on. It doesn't really matter who we're going with, as long as they get one going, so they have something to blame the failed economy. That's my take, but we shall see how this progresses. The next article here is off the Telegraph, and it says U.S. cyber attacks may be bringing missiles down. It says experts are suggesting in-flight of the missile launched by North Korea on Wednesday could have been the result of a left-of-launch attack by the United States. Wednesday's missile has been identified as a liquid fuel extended range Scud and was launched shortly after dawn from near city Sinpo on the east coast of Korean Peninsula. U.S. Pacific Commander estimates that the weapon flew for a maximum of 9 minutes and traveled miles before spinning out of control into the Sea of Japan. North Korea's missile program failure with another medium-range weapon failing during flight earlier in March. A Musadan missile fired to mark the anniversary of the birth of Kim Il-sung, the founder of the nation, blew up immediately after launch and damaged its mobile tractor erector launcher unit. In 2015, North attempted to launch a ballistic missile from a submarine, ended in failure, with the weapon breaking up underwater and failing to breach the surface. The state office of the spokesperson for immediate release. It says North Korea launched yet another intermediate range ballistic missile. The United States has spoken enough about North Korea. We have no further comment. It was put in a tweet and sent out. It says, for once, Secretary Tillerson, man, a few words. Shtick is ominously effective here, I think. Failures and others may have been a result of poor engineering on the part of the North Koreans. They may also have been deliberately brought down by the U.S., experts have told the Telegraph. In 2014, then President Barack Obama authorized additional research into left-of-launch efforts to neutralize North Korean missiles. as opposed to the more traditional deployment of anti-missile systems to destroy inbound weapons. Left-of-launch strategies involve electromagnetic propagation or cyber attacks against missiles immediately after launch, including, try that again, through electronics, use its command and control systems. North Korea relies on sophisticated electronics for internal controls of its weapons, all of which have to be imported in violation of international sanctions. A left-of-launch attack, said Lance Gatling, a defense president of Tokyo-based Nextel Incorporated, is that North Koreans cannot be sure if any imported electronics have been deliberately sanctions because they are infected with malware. A launch fails, they are also unable to determine down. There are many things that can go wrong with a missile launch, but to tell from outside if something had affected the internal guidance or control system, Mr. Gatling told The Telegraph. Mr. Gatling referred to reports of the press of launch attacks targeting the North. It has been openly mentioned that there is possibility that the North supply chain for components has been deliberately infected, and they may never know. It is quite possible that parts that they are importing are intentionally faulty because throughout history there have been similar attempts to sabotage an enemy's dead, citing Allied efforts during the Second World War to infiltrate agents into Nazi Germany program to develop V-2 rockets. Is an inset here of key moments in North Korea's nuclear history. 1974, 1986, 1985, 1969. If you want to read up on to educate yourself, and then there you can click a link that'll even show you more. Next article that I have here is about Gorsuch. It says Senate confirms Gorsuch to replace Justice Anton Scalia. 54 to 45, the Republican-led U.S. Senate voted to confirm Neil Gorsuch to the United States Supreme Court. Late, great constitutionalist Anton Scalia. The vote happened just one day after Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and GOP agreed nuclear option, a parliamentary maneuver designed to lower the vote threshold needed from 60 to 51. While liberals have been squealing about how such a move or destroy democracy, they have failed to mention that the move is a Democratic invention pushed by Harry Reid a mere few years ago. The New York Times reports the development was a signal for Trump last year rested in large part on his pledge to appoint another committed conservative to succeed Justice Anton Scalia, who died in February of 2016. However rocky the first months of his administration may have been, Mr. Trump now has lasting legacy. Judge Gorsuch, 49, could serve on the court for 30 years or more. Mike Pence presided over the final vote Friday, a show of force for the White House on a day when his tie-breaking vote as president of the Senate was not necessary. It was 54 to 45 in favor of confirmation. The confirmation was also vindication of the bare-knuckled strategy of Republicans to consider President Barack Obama's Supreme Court pick, Judge Merrick B. Garland, saying the choice of the next justice should belong to the next president. Of course, it was roundly praised by conservatives who see him viable replacement for Scalia, who holds a special place in the hearts of conservatives for his original approach to ruling. Tweet that says the nomination of Neil M. Gorsuch of Colorado to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States is confirmed. And there's a bunch of tweets after this if you want to pull those up and read those. Next article I have for you is off of Western Journalism. It says Democrat Senator Jeff Merkley finally gives up on a 15-hour Senate filibuster. Senator Jeff Merkley, the floor, Senate floor on Wednesday morning, ending a 15-hour protest aimed at halting the confirmation of Supreme Court nominee standing in front of a blown-up version of the United States Constitution. Merkley began speaking around 7 p.m. on Tuesday and vowed to talk as long as I'm able to, quote unquote. The Oregon senator protested Republicans' decision last year to block Merrick Garland, former President Barack Obama's Supreme Court pick. I've been here through the night talking about this to say how important this is that we not do this, that to proceed will fill this stolen seat that will damage the court for decades to come and damage the Senate for decades to come, Merkley said. Such a theft never ever has happened in the history of our nation, he added. If you can steal one seat and get away with it, the temptation next time is to steal another seat. Merkley's protest inspired various social media hashtags such as Stop Gorsuch and Hold the Floor. Let's see if we can scroll up a little bit more. I think the hamster's taking a break. Come on, buddy. Work with me. And then he went nuts and he spun it all around. Poor little hamster. He's just all confused. Okay, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer also praised Merkley, letting him know that his protest is what we're all watching tonight. However, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Merkley's speech will do little to change the outcome. The Kentucky Republicans prepared to invoke the nuclear option, which would lower the voting threshold required to confirm seat 251. Yeah, it didn't do him any good. He just wore himself out. You know, it's kind of like trying to teach a pig to sing. All you do is annoy the pig and waste your time. So they need to figure out that they're fighting a losing battle here. I don't know if he thinks he'll get more votes. You know, if he this or something to get himself voted back in the next time around, or you know what he's really doing by being an idiot. But hey, there you go. That's why they don't put me in charge of anything. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up so everybody gets to hear the news, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that. That way you'll stay informed. I'll see you in the next episode.